So Dr. Gordon, as the founding chair of the ads department, can you share a bit about the development of the department within the larger context of the University of Texas at Austin?
How long do you want it?
I'm going to leave it up to you, sir.
It's going to be short. We had the chair of the department right here sitting with us, so she can help me remember when the department actually became a department. I don't even know. It was a decade ago, 2000, 11 years now, 2012 or something like that. So the very, very short story is that from the Center for African American Studies, and through a process of hiring that had taken place over the decade before the founding of the department, we had a cohort of faculty members, very distinguished faculty members, all of whom were recruited to the University of Texas through a thematic initiative around Black studies, basically, and various aspects of it and all that. And so it seemed reasonable to try to create a department based on that rather ample and very successful group of faculty members, mostly Black. And so we did. There's a lot of background in terms of the politics of it that I won't go into now unless people ask me later on. There's a whole bureaucratic aspect of it, which is excruciating, but nevertheless probably not very interesting for this group. I don't know what else needs to be said about it, but we've got that period of time. We have, at the time of our founding, we were, and we still are, Bryce has one. I think we're the only Black Studies department in the state of Texas. At the time of our founding, we were supposed to be the first Black Studies department in the South or the Southwest to have a PhD program. I think the University of Louisville beat us to it because they had less bureaucratics in terms of getting it set up. We're one of the first and one of the original. So, that's more or less it. It took presidential action. The regents had to approve it. Things were different back in that day. We had a different president and a different set of regents and a different political situation in the state. And so we were able to sneak it through.
Can I ask you to add about the kind of regional geographic spread of the faculty that had been hired during that time and the Diaspora program in anthropology, because it's important to think about the diasporic nature of Black studies.
Yeah, okay. So I winced when you said that I was an associate professor of African diaspora studies and anthropology or something.
He was just promoted to full professor.
Oh.
But no, well, I didn't wince because of that.
Sorry about that. I was looking at the website, it's not caught up.
With the ample help, well, I'm not. I'm still an associate professor, but Dr. Smith helped with that. But at any rate, I was wincing at being called an anthropologist. I'm actually a recovering anthropologist. I used to be in the anthropology department. And in the anthropology department, as Dr. Smith said, we created something called the Graduate Program in African Diaspora Anthropology. And my work is actually in Latin America or Central America more specifically. I was just telling Mr. Rudy here that my work is on Black populations of the Caribbean coast of Central America. And so one of the things we did out of the anthropology department was to begin to bring in students and faculty members who were interested particularly in Latin America and Blacks in Latin America, which was something that most other universities were not doing, didn't know much about, et cetera, et cetera. So we had a real focus on the anthropology of the African diaspora, but focused particularly on Latin America, Brazil in particular, Central America, et cetera, and the Caribbean to a certain extent. And so that then became, that graduate program then became, in some sense, it was done in conjunction with the Center for African American Studies. And so when the Center for African American Studies sort of thought about or began putting together what the department would be, because there was such a strong cohort of graduate students and faculty members who were already involved in the African diaspora, that was one of the foci. And it distinguished us from other Black studies groups around the country. The other thing is that the department really was focused on a couple of things. And I have to be careful how I call these things. So one is definitely the African diaspora, and the African diaspora, particularly in Latin America and the Caribbean, and also Afro-Latino and Caribbean folks inside the United States. The other was that it was very much focused, it was not an Afrocentric gathering or a group of scholars. It's scholars that were much more focused on critical thinking and critical theory. And so the other areas of interest and expertise were basically critical gender theory, critical race theory, and critical queer theory. And so we constructed a faculty, even before the department was created, that had those kinds of foci. And so when the department got created, it was created with a different kind of notion of Black studies, because traditionally Black studies have been more focused on Africa, African retentions, and this, that, which we didn't completely ignore, but we're much more a group of scholars who thought of Black studies as the quintessential critical theory base. In fact, at certain times on this campus, I've been told that the Black Studies Department is the home of critical thinking on the campus, and I think that's still true. And that was a key aspect of what we're trying to do. Is that enough?
Yeah, and I would say the expressive arts has also been.
From the beginning, absolutely. And that was a big focus of the Center for African Studies. Omi Jones, who helped me run that for years, was an artist, an expressive artist, and so we, is this my thing that's making so much noise? Okay. That was her specialty, and so from the very beginning, at this point, I'm not sure who curates the department's art collection, but that was started under the Center for African Studies. I'm not sure this is going to work. Whether this guy looking over our shoulders.
I know, he's probably loving it.
I like it. He's like the wizard.
But you're absolutely correct, Sharice. That was a key aspect of what was brought together there. What am I going to do with this?
You can put it on the...
It was just
Yeah, but you're still hearing crinkles. So come help me while somebody else speaks.
Well, I want to be amongst the many that say thank you for your incredible work, Dr. Gordon, which certainly reverberates across the globe, really. But I'm grateful for your work in the Bay Area.